activate. Yeah, I just came to celebrate. They want me to detonate. Watch me hit accelerate.
What up, y'all? This your boy Manny, and this is Talking Sports with Manny. Let's get it. So, guys, I got a special episode for you guys today. But the story begins like this. Take a listen.
In regulation. It is caught by Dyson. Can he get in? No, he cannot. Mike Jones made the tackle. And the Rams have won the Super Bowl.
No line. The game is over. The game is over.
That was the Titans versus the Rams in the Super Bowl in 1999. This episode, remember the Titans. Ever wanted to make a podcast but never really knew how? Well, Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. There's a creation tool that allows you to record right from your phone or computer, and as well as editing as well. Anchor will distribute your podcast to places such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can also monetize from your podcast. You can download the Anchor app for free at the App Store, or you can go to anchor.fm to get started. So, guys, man, I have a special guest for you guys on this episode. I got my main guy, Tommy Taylor, a.k.a. Titan Tommy. Let's get it. What up, Tommy? How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm good, brother. Good. Glad you invited me, brother.
Man, absolutely, man. I know a lot of Titans fans. You know a lot of Titans fans. And us living in Nashville, Tennessee, I felt that for this second episode of my podcast, it's only fitting that I do a Titans episode. So talk to me about when the Titans got to Nashville.
Oh man, listen, I was very young, and I was actually a Steelers fan at the time.
Okay.
So the Titans come, and honestly, I was too young to really know what was going on, so I didn't really know that Bud Adams was having an issue in Houston where he basically wanted to upgrade the Astrodome, and well, he wanted a new stadium, and they were like, "Hey, we just upgraded the Astrodome." So this was in '95. So he announced he was coming to Tennessee. So the fans stopped going. Houston fans stopped going to the game. So in '96, they ended up going to play the games in Memphis.
Yeah, I heard about that. Like, was that like in '97? I think
that was 96. Yeah, right after the 95 season. 96, they went to Memphis. And I think it was 98. It was a 98 season when they got to Nashville, or 98 season when they got to Nashville. And the crazy thing about it was, and really how I became a fan, was my dad had some tickets. And I remember we went to, I think, the first game or the second game. And I remember on the tickets, it was, we had the ticket frame for a long time. It was pictures of the stadium being built.
Okay.
Back then, it was the Adelphia Coliseum.
Okay.
So,
Good deal.
Yeah, first game, fan for life.
That's awesome, man. So, kind of started the episode with the Super Bowl that happened in 1999 season. Tell me about that experience.
Oh, you know what, man? That experience was what? How should I say? Just so unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we were a new fan base. I wasn't even a big football guy at the time, but you know, I was rooting for my Titans. I remember everybody was excited and everything like that. And that Super Bowl run was unexpected. I mean, from the way we even got there, you know, against the Bills, and then we get to the Super Bowl, and this is the height. Well, not the height, but pretty much the Eddie George show. here in Tennessee. Pretty much the Eddie George show. And to be honest with you, it was Eddie George on offense and Javon Curse on defense. No one thought Yeah, I was gonna say, Javon Curse was like shot out of a gun, man. I mean, the guy, his rookie season, this guy is just lighting it up. And it was crazy how that happened. And man, it was 1 yard short, trying to tie the game. Man, thought we were going back.
That was heartbreaking, man, for you guys. I remember watching the game with my dad, and that's kind of like when I started getting into football. And lo and behold, we moved to Nashville, Tennessee. So I was like, man, I gotta come out here to this city and witness all these fans and just experience something so tragic. But just to get to the Super Bowl, that's an awesome accomplishment. And it seems like all this happened so fast. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
New city, new stadium, new name, because you guys changed from the Oilers to the Titans. So it just happened so fast, and it was so surreal. But man, just that 1 yard line. I have no words, man. I've watched that play over and over and over again, and man, if my team was to lose like that, I don't even know how to feel.
Right.
So
right.
Talk to me about how good or great was Steve McNair. People don't realize how great of a quarterback this guy was.
Steve McNair was listen, the guy is a legend. And the one thing about Steve is he really wasn't unleashed until after that Super Bowl. You really didn't see the height of Steve McNair until the 02, 03 seasons. You can throw 01 in there. Really, right after that Super Bowl is when they started really unleashing Steve McNair, and the legend of Steve McNair was really being written, right then and there. And guy was an Iron Man, playing through multiple injuries. And I remember there was times when people felt like we would be better without Steve because he got hurt so often.
Right.
When you looked at the games and you looked at our win-loss stats with him in and with him out, it was night and day. Steve McNair was the man.
Yeah, man, Steve, man, I remember some great memories of Steve going against Peyton Manning. Those are some of the better battles, and then also against the Baltimore Ravens. Those games used to be must-see TV. And
still is too.
And you know what I've seen as a trend is a lot of times these quarterbacks, they get to the Super Bowl, but they weren't the reason the team got to the Super Bowl. Like a Ben Roethlisberger or some of these other guys. And then it seems like after that Super Bowl, now it becomes their team. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Let me see what else I got for you here, man. So let's talk a little bit about where the Titans are headed. Because last season, you guys had not a miraculous season, but a lot of Titans fans didn't see AFC Championship. Some did, but not a lot of fans. Talk to me about that journey getting to that point.
Perfect storm. I honestly think that our season last year was very comparable to that Super Bowl season. And the reason I say that is because a lot of similarities. You had a great back, in Eddie George and Derrick Henry. Great secondary. So a lot of people don't remember the secondary we had during that Super Bowl run, with Blaine Bishop, Samari Rolle, guys like that. And this year we had a pretty good secondary. If our guy, drawing a blank on his name, the cornerback we got from the Patriots,
Logan Ryan,
Malcolm Butler. If Malcolm Butler was healthy, I believe that things would have been different in that game versus Kansas City. I think we'd have been a lot more competitive. I don't think we would have been as wide open as we were.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, let me ask you this. Now, get into that Super Bowl. There was a miracle play. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about that miracle play, and then tell me what you felt was a miracle play for you guys this past season.
Okay, no problem. All right. Listen. So that Music City Miracle. Listen, if any Bills fans is listening right now, I want you to know that it was a backwards pass. You know, it was a backwards pass. It was a lateral. And one thing I want you to know about that play was, you know, it was starters in the game. I mean, it was our stars. It was Lorenzo Neal,
Mm-hmm.
you know, handing the ball off to Frank Wycheck,
Okay.
and Frank Wycheck throwing the backwards pass to Kevin Dyson, and Dyson runs it all the way down the field. And I think a lot of times with these trick plays, people put all these this weird personnel in.
Mm-hmm.
That was a perfect play call using the right players. You know, people that will rise to the occasion. You know, Frank Wycheck's one of the best tight ends the franchise has ever had. You know, Kevin Dyson at the time, you know, really one of the best receivers, you know, this franchise has ever had. You know,
Right.
Mason was on that team too, you know, but he was one of the young guns, you know, back then. But yeah, I mean, Kevin Dyson runs it all the way down. Dyson's the same one that you know, 1 yard short in the Super Bowl. But
Right.
what you're doing is you're putting the ball in the game in the hands of your stars. And
Right.
was what was so great about it. And that's why it was executed so well. You know, the first thing that the announcer said was, "There's no flags. There's no flags."
Man,
And you know, and we won, man.
what a wild play. Now, what in this past season do you feel was either a miracle play or a miracle game or a miracle moment, like something that happened that just kind of turned the whole season around?
Well, listen, let me not give you a play. Let me give you a player, and that's
Okay.
Ryan Tannehill.
Okay.
And anyone who knows me knows I am not a Tannehill fan. Wasn't a Tannehill believer
Okay.
all season, and I'm still pretty. I'm still dragging my legs on that one. But one thing I must admit is no one saw Ryan Tannehill coming. And as great as Derrick Henry is,
Mm-hmm.
you needed a competent quarterback back there, and that's no diss to my man Marcus. Marcus had lost his confidence,
Mm-hmm.
and basically, to be honest with you, taking Marcus out was actually a favor to Marcus himself, because that hole was only going to get worse, and who knows what would happen to his confidence,
Right.
you know, if he stayed in there any longer.
Now,
So I would say, yeah, Ryan Tannehill was the lightning rod to our team this year.
yeah, I mean, when that guy took over, man, you guys were just a whole different team. You know, like the win percentage, the passing down the field, the emergence of AJ Brown. I mean, it was
Mhm.
an amazing offense. You guys were like top 3, top 4 offense in the league during that stretch. Now, it
Mhm.
also seemed that when Ryan Tannehill took over, Derrick Henry took his game to a whole nother level. Talk to me about that.
All right. I mean, things were more open for Derrick Henry. If you looked at the first couple of games
Mm-hmm.
of the season, the first 6 games of the season, Derrick was running hard, and he had a few really good games,
Mm-hmm.
but he had more opportunities once Ryan got in and started being more consistent in the passing game. And you know, Derrick has never seen that his career in the NFL.
Right.
You know, those kind of rushing lanes and things like that. And the other thing to pay attention to is this: our left tackle Taylor Lewan was suspended for the first 4 games.
4 games. Yeah.
Yep, he was suspended for the first 4 games. So then he gets back in, and there's gelling period. That's the other thing is Nate. I can't think of his name, but he's our right guard. His name is Nate. I can't think of the last name right now.
Okay.
But he was, you know, rookie, and he was not looking good those first 6 games. He was not looking good at all. So some of it was the offensive line as well. You know, gelling together, getting right, and going from there. Yes, sir.
Makes a lot of sense. And it seems like Derrick Henry always starts off the season slow. So I know Titans fans were excited that he had from top to bottom, like, you know, like consistency was there. I saw
Right.
him, running hard. He caught passes. He caught more passes than he normally does. They used him in the passing game as, not as much as he would have liked to, but I
Right.
saw improvement in his pass catching ability. And talk to me about AJ Brown, man. That, for me, coming out of the draft, that was my favorite receiver coming out the draft. And for
Right.
one moment that I knew that this guy was going to be special was I saw him on NFL Network talking to Steve Smith. Steve Smith was, asking him questions, and he was just dissecting routes and running the routes and telling him, on this defense I do this, on this defense I do that. I was like, man, this guy sounds like a veteran. So that's when I started really paying attention and just started focusing on AJ Brown. And when you guys drafted him, I was sad that he didn't get to go to my team, but I support him. That's my guy. So talk to me about AJ Brown.
That's a good one. AJ Brown, this guy, when I tell you, I did not see from him in he had a great college career, he did, but I did not see that coming from him. What I thought was, he was a slow, basically a slot receiver.
Right.
He ran a slow time for a slot receiver, and I thought he was a little too big and bulky to really move around and get things, really be a consistent receiver. I thought he had great hands. This guy from game one,
I remember that versus Cleveland, right?
Versus Cleveland, went over 100 yards, touchdown. That's when Marcus playing. And and from there, the guy took off. He really did not slow down the whole season until we got to the playoffs and that's a whole other story.
Right. It's understandable. It happens, you know what I'm saying? For, young player, seeing the playoffs for the very first time, things happen and teams adjust. Defenses adjust.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to take away what a player does best and, force a player to do something else. But one thing I've seen about the combine and all these different things that go on, that 40 speed doesn't really matter if a player knows how to run routes and get open. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
The guys like Michael Thomas and some of these great receivers, Keenan Allen, they're not necessarily fast, but they know how to get separation. And I'll take a receiver to get separation over speed. John Ross. Yeah. What I'm saying? Darius Bay. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. But see, when you look at his they do the draft profiles. On his draft profile, it said, one of the things was not sure if he has enough speed to consistently get open.
Okay.
And listen, I saw him catch the ball and outrun defensive backs.
Right.
So that whole 40 time thing, that's completely out the window for me. At this point, you can play
speed is everything.
Yep.
Game speed is everything. And there's some receivers in this draft that's coming out, man, that are not what you call fast because of the combine, but I've seen tapes. Game speed is everything, man. You know what I'm saying?
Game speed is everything. And when you look at it, when you look at guys like Larry Fitzgerald, Michael Evans, guys like that weren't fast. I'll give you another one. The guy that was in Houston just got traded to Cardinals.
DeAndre Hopkins,
not a super fast guy.
Right.
Terrell Owens wasn't fast.
That's true.
And these guys were, unstoppable. And these are the cream of the crop.
Right. So the lesson is get you the slow guy from the combine. He might turn out to be something.
I would say go for production.
Okay.
Yeah, go for the production. And that's where it is.
All right. And a lot of times too, sometimes it depends on what team you go to. Like DK Metcalf, man, he's a great receiver. He's going to be a great receiver. But if he didn't go to Seattle, I'm not sure he would have had the success he had in his first year. To me, he played with A.J. Brown, but A.J. Brown was far better in terms of the technicalities and the movements and route running and, things like that. but it just
Mhm.
seemed that Russell Wilson is just so great that he can turn ordinary players into extraordinary players. So, I mean, DK Metcalf
That's
got into the
interesting.
right situation, and I'm happy.
I agree with that. I do think that I think systems make players,
Yep.
but there are some players that are exceptions to the rules.
That is true. That is true. Sometimes some players are just so special. You know what I'm saying? They just have that it factor. They get out there like Randy Moss. He was special, man. It really didn't even matter where he went. He was just Randy Moss. You know, you could cover him.
Not in
Well,
Oakland. When they thought he was done in Oakland,
yeah.
they didn't think he was the same Randy anymore when he was in Oakland.
Yeah, but I still feel like had he went to the right team, he would have produced better than he did in Oakland. And in Tennessee, he showed up in Tennessee. People don't even know Randy Moss played for Tennessee Titans. You know?
Hey, let's not talk about that. Let's not do that.
All right, we're not going to.
I'm not here for
that. All right, so let's talk about Mike Vrabel. When he was first hired, what was your opinion?
When Vrabel was hired, I actually liked the hire.
Okay.
I really liked the hire. And the reason I liked it so much because I hated Mike Vrabel when he was with the Patriots.
Right.
I hated him. And the reason I hated him was because he wasn't talented. You know, to me, I didn't think he was very talented. But what I did think about him was I thought he was a hard worker. And I didn't want us to be losing and letting this guy who was this overachiever, overachieve on us. I didn't want that. And it really got under my skin. But with him coming as a coach, to us, I was like, okay, this guy, Mr. Untalented himself, is the man.
He caught some touchdowns now.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, whatever. Whatever. I'm not impressed.
Hey, but he had heart. He had heart.
He had a lot of heart. He has a lot of heart, and I like that. I like this mental toughness, and that's something I hated about him, but I admired the whole time. I always admired it, and that's what I didn't like about him. The competitor that he was,
right.
Even though he wasn't special at all. But him as a coach, I was very excited, man. But one thing about Mike Vrabel is, everyone says good things, and listen, I am a fan of him as a coach. But let's be honest, he's 18-14 as a coach, 2-9-7 seasons. I just what I'm saying is he still has more things to prove.
Absolutely.
He still has things to get better, and his playoff record is 2-1.
And how many years has he been coaching?
2 years. He's been coaching for us for 2 years.
2 years, 9-7 each year, bro. I'll take that.
He took over a 9-7 team.
Huh?
He took over a 9-7 team. The Titans have went 9-7 for 3 straight years.
But
he took over a 9-7 team.
But here's the thing: year 3 is the year that you're really gonna be able to judge him. Okay,
that's true.
Because now he's done a couple drafts, right? He's starting to get his own kind of guys. Also, in free agency, he's getting to get his own guys. See, when you come in and you inherit something, it's not yours. You know what I'm saying? It's not your system. It's not your scheme. Those are not the players that you particularly would have wanted. So now you're kind of adjusting. He got there. Him and Mariota had some friction. And obviously now we see that Mariota was not the quarterback that he liked. Obviously, he wasn't traded for Tannehill. But see, people didn't know that was more of an insurance policy to if Mariota doesn't work out. When people go to teams like, for example, Ron Rivera with the Washington Redskins, he has gone and traded for a quarterback that he feels comfortable with, to where if Haskins gets hurt or doesn't work out, he can now lean on a guy that kind of fits his scheme. So with this going into this third year, I see Vrabel drafting more of his guys. Even in free agency, he's bringing in guys that he likes. So it's like now that third year, your third draft, your third free agency, it's kind of like no excuses now. It's like, all right, we were 9-7 2 years in a row. We got to get to that 10 wins, 11 wins, even though that the playoffs is now a 7-team playoff. How do you feel about that?
What I feel about the 17 playoffs is that just means the Titans would have been in the playoffs for the last 3 or 4 years. No, the last 3 years, because honestly, because the piggyback off my last point, Vrabel took over a team that had went to the playoffs. If you remember when we had Mike, whatever his name was, right before Michael Vrabel, is we actually went to the playoffs, and then they asked him to change his offensive coordinator, and it went all downhill. Then we ended up with Vrabel, and so the Titans would have been in the playoffs for 3 straight seasons. And we had 17 before, so if we go 9-7 again, we probably make the playoffs again, guaranteed. I would say one thing about Vrabel is we definitely need to win the AFC South, which I believe we should have won last year. But there's things happen, and it is what it is. But I'm not very excited about the 17 playoffs. For each conference, I'm not very excited about it, even though I feel like we would have made it. I don't want the participation trophy.
Right.
I feel as though guys should, teams should make it. I feel as 12 is enough. But hey, it is what it is. I will say one thing that I am excited about is a 17th game. I'm happy about that. Extra week of football. Not complaining.
Now that 17th game will not be in play this season. It'll be in play next season. But this is why I like the 17 playoff format. I always thought that having 2 bye teams was useless.
Okay.
It was useless. Now, let's say that this past season had 7 teams, right? That means that the only bye team would have been what? Baltimore, right?
I don't think.
Yeah, because
Baltimore
was the number 1 bye.
Yeah, they were number 1. Yeah, so they were.
And you see what happened to them. So I like the 1 team getting the bye, and then I also like the fight for that 7th seed. That 7th seed is going to be so vital. That means every conference game is important. Every non-conference game is important.
I will say this, and let me say this then. I believe with us going to 7 teams making the playoffs, I'll have a less of a problem with that if they will also make the rule change to say, hey, if you don't have a winning record, you can't make the playoffs.
I'm cool with that.
If I will be fine with that because I believe like when the Seahawks made it when they were 7-9. I don't agree with that. There's other teams that are way more deserving. I don't want a 7-9 team in the playoffs, and then there's other teams out there that's
here's the
10-6,
if
and
you're
they're
gonna
not.
Do that, then take away conferences. Take away the AFC South and the AFC North, East, whatever. Then you see what I'm saying? Then it becomes because those 7-9 teams won their division. It was not their fault that their division was trapped. Now, what I would say is, you come to the playoffs with a losing record, then you're the 7th seed. You know what I'm saying? Do a reseeding of those 7 teams. You don't deserve a home game.
Yeah, we're going off into the deep end.
But do you get what I'm saying though?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I get what you're saying.
Delete that conference completely. You're saying, hey, conference, you guys sucked.
I mean, it's like a reprimand.
I respect that.
You guys aren't good enough.
I respect it. Now, let's talk about what do you feel are the strengths for the Titans and the weaknesses. Then we'll talk about the draft.
All right. And so this is, and I'm very emotional about my team. So I will say this. I don't believe we've gotten better this offseason so far. I believe we've gotten worse. And that's with the departures of Jurrell Casey. Right now it seems like Logan Ryan's not coming back. Jack Conklin. These are integral parts to our team and what we were doing. Logan Ryan's our leader in tackles. Jurrell Casey's our leader on defense. Jack Conklin was, our supposed right tackle for years to come. This is supposed to be one of the anchors of our offensive line. We lost a long-time receiver in Tajay Sharp, fifth-round pick. That turned out great for us.
He's rock solid. And he'll have a chance to start for the Vikings. No more Diggs. So they brought him in to compete for that, number 2 position.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Can't forget Delaney Walker's gone. We have a lot of I don't even know what's going on with Derrick Henry with this tag. I'm not sure if he's going to play or not. But what I'm trying to get to is this Titans team is going to be very, very different. Saying that, thinking of our strengths, let me say our weaknesses first. Our weakness is going to be our defensive line. Our defensive line is it's a work in progress at the moment. Because while we do have Harold Landry, who's a stud, seemed like he was working on a breakout season in the first half of last year. Then the second half seemed like he ran out of steam, and some of that's probably because he was the only real pass rushing threat. Jarrell Casey's gone. He wasn't as good as he was in the past, but he was still, pretty good. Our rookie Simmons came on strong, but he was a rookie, so he had more down days than he had, great days. But he did have great days. Still looks like a great prospect, but
now
he was a rookie.
Since pass rushing was a huge weakness for you guys, all you guys have done so far to improve it was Vic Beasley. Now, I've been hearing rumblings still about Clowney.
Underwhelming.
If I am the Titans, you pay him a 1-year deal, about 14, 15 million, maybe even less, because the market is dried right now. The market is dry. Clowney wants 20 million. He's not going to get 20 million. Why not go to a contending team? Play opposite of Vic Beasley and see what happens.
Well, he already has that. He already has a standing offer with the Seattle Seahawks, and that's a team that competes, and a team that he already knows. I'm not sure if he wants to come back to AFC South or not. I would figure that our offer would probably have to be more than theirs, and their offer is probably 15, 16 million a year is probably what they're offering. He probably thought he was getting 22. That's probably what his agent told him. And so that's probably a hard sell to come back and tell him you misjudged that. So him and his agent are probably at odds right now. And then, they are kind of reformatting and resetting, the goal to, or the reality of, we're not getting, we're going to be 7 million short of where we thought, you were going to be getting. So I'm guessing one of the things is he's probably wanting a 1-year or 2-year deal so he can get back out. I really believe he probably wants just a 1-year deal.
For 1 year, take $2 million less, and you face the Houston Texans twice.
Well, he probably has the same questions everyone else has, and that's, well, where does he fit now? Now we have Vic Beasley. The other question is, if we only give him $15 million, he's probably sitting there thinking, I'm only $3 million better than Vic Beasley. I mean, the Vic Beasley move was a head scratcher. I'm hoping that I'm going to be utterly surprised, and we can, get more out of him than we would have thought. The only thing about the head scratching thing is that it's up to 12 million and it's a 1-year deal. That's the head scratching thing, because if you were going to overpay him, you should have got him for 2 years. That's or true. A team option or something like that. If we were going to overpay him, I mean, if we were, right. I just don't understand that, because if he does have a Kyle Vanden Bosch type awakening here in Tennessee, then he's gone the next season, or we have to pay him for more.
So, I get it.
That's
but
terrible, man.
They leave, and maybe this is the Patriot way that Vrabel is bringing over here. That he's not going to overpay guys.
Let me tell you what it seems like. the Cowboys signed Robert Quinn last year. 1 year,
It was
I think
through a trade.
$8 or $9 million.
It was through a trade.
I think it was
4th round pick.
okay.
Right?
Through a trade. Okay.
Okay.
I think it was like $8 million. I think it was like $8 million. He leaves the next season, and I mean, and you can sit there and talk about comp pick, and,
They gave up a 4th round pick, right? They use him for 1 year. He has some success. He leaves. Now, based on the contract and whatever else that happens, they have a chance of getting a 3rd round comp pick. So you flipped a 4th.
Yeah, they have a chance, but you also but you also have to make sure you don't sign anybody and you don't do this, don't do that. It's so much that goes with that.
But I'm saying it's possible.
Honestly, I don't even want to talk about Vic Beasley. I don't want to talk about Vic Beasley. Right now, it's a
now
sore
let's
spot
talk
for
about
me.
the past season's success in terms of the draft. I know you guys have gotten steals like Jayon Brown and Kevin Byard. Tell me what that process has been. How do you guys keep finding these awesome talents so late in the draft? Who was doing this?
Well, I'll say this.
Okay.
John Robinson. This is where he really, really shines. In most of his draft picks, and most of his draft picks, I mean, they have for the most part been pretty spot on. And ever since he came in and picked Byard and guys like Jayon Brown in the 5th, it was Jayon in the 5th. You had Kevin Byard. You had I'm trying to think who went above that. Matter of fact, this may not have been that may not have been John Robinson's draft. But I will say this: let's talk last year. Simmons, who looks like who looks pretty good. Then we have AJ Brown. Next. AJ Brown looks like he's knocking it out of the park. Yep. We had a guy named Amani Hooker. Hooker was the 4th pick, and that guy looked amazing last year. He didn't have a lot of opportunities, but Hooker looked really good. I'm gonna tell you somebody else. Nate Davis. And I forgot his last name earlier, but it's Nate Davis. So when you think about it like this, you think about Simmons, AJ Brown, Davis, your first 3 picks.
That's awesome.
Starters. Yeah, if Hooker starts for Logan Ryan this year, then you're talking about four picks.
That's amazing.
4 starters. We had a guy. Yep, with our next pick, Walker last year, he got hurt, didn't play, so we don't know about him. But David Long was our 6th pick, and this guy was starting for us in the playoffs over Wesley Woodyard at basically at outside linebacker. Yes, sir. Inside linebacker. I'm sorry. Yes, sir. So I mean the hits, and then and we're not even talking about guys, undrafted free agents. Yeah. We had a guy named Derek Roberson that we hit on, undrafted, come in, got 2.5 sacks for us in 1 game. Another guy named Alex Mack, who looked like a world beater, and it's probably some of the reason they thought they're thinking, hey, maybe we can let Casey go, because we have some line depth. The guy is not Casey, but he. He really showed some things in preseason, and I think they let him play in the season a little bit too. We had a guy previously undrafted named Matt Dickerson, and he showed pretty well as well.
Now let me ask you this.
Now
in this up-and-coming draft, I don't know a lot about the Titans, but what I do know is I see a need for a tackle. But some believe that Kelly's the guy. I see a need for another pass rush. You can never have more than enough pass rushers. I see a need at corner, and maybe an additional help at safety. But then again, I don't know. So, how many draft picks do you guys have, and what are your glaring needs?
I think we have 7 draft picks. I know that we had to give up a pick for a guy named
Okay.
Reggie Gilbert. And if any Titan fans is listening to this podcast and you wonder who Reggie Gilbert is, listen. He did nothing for us last year. We traded our pick for him, and the guy gave us nothing. And I think we gave up. It was a late round pick. I know we picked up one for Simmons, and I know we lost another one for some other reason. I believe. I'm not really sure how many picks we have. I haven't really looked forward, really studied our draft or anything like that. I do know that the needs I believe that we have is going to be we need help on the defensive line. So I would say we definitely need a defensive end or a defensive tackle or someone that could play that Jarrell Casey role. If not an edge. Well, we definitely need someone there. Really, we need 2 guys on our defensive line. We definitely need to draft O tackle. But the thing I'm thinking with that is this. So we signed Kelly to a starter's contract, and it was for 2 years. Now, of course, we can get out after 1, but it was for 2 years. And then I know we just picked up another guy that could play swing tackle to go along with another guy we already had on the team. The thing that I'm thinking about that is they're going to really give Kelly a try. So that lets me know, or it makes me believe, that they're not looking for their tackle in the first round. Maybe the second, but they're not looking for him in the first round because I believe they're looking for I believe they believe that we can make a Super Bowl run, and I think they're looking for players that are going to make immediate impact. So, and I believe they had a conversation with Kelly and told him they're going to try him at starter. So I don't believe we're going to go O tackle in the first. Cornerback. Mm-hmm. We definitely have a need at cornerback. If you look at the team right now, we haven't replaced Logan Ryan. Some people believe that Hooker can come in and play that nickel, that nickel in that slot on corner. We'll see how that goes.
I'm going to give you a name.
The guy was drafted as a safety.
Damon Arnett from Ohio State. He's most likely going to be there at the end of the first round / early second round. Now, let me ask you this. If you was the GM of the Titans and somebody's offering you 2 second-round picks for your round pick back, and that's smart.
I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Because we also need a running back, and we also need another receiver.
The Indianapolis Colts did that last year with the Washington Redskins. They traded back, and they were able to get the second-round pick last year and this year. So this year, with the Washington's second-round pick, that's the number 2 overall second-round pick in the second round. So the Colts really won that trade. You know,
I'll tell you a team that's scary. The Indianapolis Colts.
They are going to be
Colts
nasty.
Are a scary team. And they have a very, very good guy named Chris Ballard. Ballard is a guy I actually wanted here in Tennessee. But when we were looking to, when I thought we were looking to get a guy, he wasn't. I think he ended up getting hired the year before John Robinson or something like that. I think for some reason we didn't fire our GM. It was something to that extent, but I wanted Ballard very, very badly, and we did not get him. But Ballard is a guy to look out for. That guy knows talent. Now, I am a fan of John Robinson, but Ballard,
he's talented. He's talented. A lot of the picks he had last year.
Yes, sir.
A lot of the picks he had the year before that did, and now they acquire more second round. It seems like they have 3 second rounders every year, and second round picks are so valuable. Just imagine this draft that has so many good wide receivers. It's very deep in wide receivers. Just imagine what he can do with the second pick overall in the second round. He can get one of those top receivers. Because even though a lot of receivers are projected to go first round, we know how it goes. There's going to be some tackle-needy teams, some corner-needy teams, pass rusher-needy teams. And then, because they know that the draft is so deep in receivers, you go ahead and get your most glaring need that's not receiver first round, and then you attack receiver second round. So don't be shocked if that's the round that goes wide receiver heavy. You know, I know the Houston Texans are looking for a receiver after making that stupid deal. they're hoping that one of their second round picks is the replacement, or they're going to try DeAndre Hopkins. Then you have the Jacksonville, Jaguars with, I think I did the math the other day, like I think 9 picks in the first, I think 140, something like that. I can't remember what the numbers were. That's insane. I think so.
They have 9 picks in the first 140. The good thing about that is Jacksonville. They'll do something.
But you have 9 chances to,
we'll be okay.
I mean, it's not rocket science. In a draft this deep, just close your eyes and just pick somebody. You just might.
They'll pick up Blake Bortles
or draft a receiver every year. Still, after having receivers, they keep having receivers.
What was the guy before that? Blaine Gabbert. They're good.
Every year,
for
Jacksonville is going to Jacksonville, huh?
And then, and then they put their faith in this mustache guy,
Minshew.
Wow,
magic. All right,
I love it, Jacksonville. Yep,
all right,
keep
so what
it
is your
going.
team projection?
Keep
Since
it
we're
going.
on that topic, what's your team projection in terms of wins this next coming season?
This next coming season, this is what I believe is going to happen. I believe the team is going to turn to Ryan Tannehill, and they are going to expect a whole lot. They are looking for Ryan Tannehill to be a top 10 quarterback this year. And that's why I believe that we are going to definitely get another receiver.
This is the year to get your receiver.
Oh, yeah.
Don't be surprised if they do it late first round. I know you guys got needs at corner and pass rusher,
listen.
That just might be the round to get a top 5 receiver.
I would be surprised. I believe that if we go receiver, we'll go in the second round, maybe the third. I would definitely be surprised if we went receiver that early, because we do have because we did get AJ. Because the team's already thinking, hey, we got AJ Brown in the second round, and the guy we spent the first round pick, Corey Davis, he's not looking so hot.
Exactly.
We're not going to pick up his 5th-year option.
Round.
No way.
So if that happens, expect the he's going to trade, or they use him up for this last year. This is the last year of his contract, right? They use him up. They bring in a guy. They make them battle for that number 2 spot. I don't know who plays slot. I don't know like the dynamics of the Titans. If they're going to move AJ to the slot and draft another guy to the outside. I don't know any of that. But what I do know is the Titans are drafting.
No, we have Adam Humphries. Yeah, Adam Humphries. I think that's his name. Adam Humphries for slot. And then, so, the thing is, we're looking for someone, but Corey Davis has to be challenged. We have to have somebody to come in and that can actually challenge him. And Corey, so one thing that Corey does, and a lot of people don't, miss, is Corey is a great, great blocking receiver. He blocks, and he can catch, and he can do things. He's just not very dynamic, and he's not very consistent.
Hey,
and that's Corey's.
He's going to take over that Tajay Sharp role. And
if we get somebody else to come in the building, I actually wanted us to go after that guy, Robbie Anderson. That was his name. I forget it. Yeah, the guy. Yeah, because one thing that I feel like the Titans need is speed. And that's the one thing that our receiving core is lacking, is speed. You can say we have it in that guy, Cameron Batson, or that other guy, something Neal or something like that. The guy that they caught some of the long balls. My only thing is those guys were undrafted and journeymen for a reason.
This is the draft. There's going to be really, really, really good receivers in the 3rd and the 4th round. But if you want your game-changing, stud wide receiver, franchise-changing game changers, you get the 1st, 2nd round. If that guy is your guy.
I believe if there's a guy, somebody like if somebody unexpectedly falls,
T. Higgins
because some of these
T.
receivers,
Higgins,
yeah,
if T.
I mean,
Higgins
if
is
there's
there, you guys pick at what, 29? If T. Higgins is there at 29,
29,
you guys don't draft him, and I have no words.
I mean, but I agree. I believe if T. Higgins is there, I mean,
Right.
I believe that's where you go.
Oh, man. Man.
Jalen Reagor.
Oh, my God.
If he's there,
Speed.
speed. I mean, if you're, yeah, I mean, my thing is, one thing that John Robinson does for the most part, he tries to cover up most of our needs. So in the draft, usually if we have a need, you kind of know exactly what it is almost with John Robinson. So, he does try to cover up a lot of those things. And I just believe that if he will put enough guys in position to where we don't have a glaring need where it's just we have to do this, I believe, yeah,
Most
man,
definitely.
go for the best talent.
Most definitely.
And that's where I would go. I wouldn't be concerned with there's so many of these guys. I would be concerned with, let me get the elite, the elite.
All right,
guy.
Tommy. So let me ask you
I'll go there.
last question. Who is your top 5 Titans of all time?
Wow. I'm gonna give you the top 5 Titans of all time. Because if I give you my personal ones, guys would be mad. Just me thinking about it right now, because VY would be on my personal list, and I know guys would hate me for it.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna just give you the top 5 Titans, in my opinion. So I won't give you just my personal favorites. I'll give you the top 5 people that I think should be. But let me start with the guy. Let me start with Steve as number 1. I don't want to try to go backwards because then I leave somebody off. So I'm gonna say Steve McNair is my number 1 overall Titan, because Steve embodies what a Titan player is supposed to be: toughness, grit. Leave it all out there. That's Steve. So number 2 has to be Eddie, because Eddie had a couple of seasons where it was just the Eddie George show, and he put this team on his back, carried us to a Super Bowl. Eddie George was the man. 3. I know this is where people are going to probably start disagreeing with me, but this is a guy I got to put on there. He had a very short career with the Titans, but it was a wonderful career, and that's Javon Kearse. Okay. Yes, sir, Javon Kearse. Without him, we don't make that Super Bowl. This guy was an absolute terror on defense. Unstoppable. It may have only been for a short career, but hey, he was good. He was very good. Number 4, and we're getting into some of my personal favorites, like Steve is. But let's say CJ2K. Yes, sir. CJ2K. This guy was a lightning rod. This guy was the face of the Titans. He wasn't a very good talker and all this other stuff, so he couldn't do a lot of public things. But CJ2K was a guy that put the Titans on his back. Was a guy that brought fans to the stadium. Was to be excited in Nashville when we were down for a long time. So CJ2K, thank you, brother, for all you did for us. We really appreciate it. Let's say number 5, man. And like I said, I know my list is going to be so different from other people. And let me do this. I'm actually going to split my number 5 into 2 people. And because they were actually there in the same era. And I'm going to say Jarrell Casey and Marcus Mariota. And I'm going to say thanks to both guys, and we appreciate it. Yeah, man, Jarrell Casey, man, this guy, second round pick, came on the team, changed the culture of the defense, never complained, always came to work, did his job, and was an absolute terror, a star, just a great guy. Marcus, same thing, got on the team, turned us into winners. You know, Mark took us to the playoffs and, you know what I'm saying, started a winning culture here. Never complained about all the changes and everything that he was asked to do. You know, came to work, did his job, and, you know, things didn't turn out so great for Marcus, but, you know, well, he gave us a lot of good memories, and the guy had heart, he had grit, and we appreciate that. But yeah, those are that's my top five, brother. Thank you for asking.
How can the people find you? Are you on social media?
Yeah, I'm on social media, man. You can find me at Tommy Taylor, and you also can find me by hiring the company I work with, bargainmovingcompany.com. So just look that up, Bargain Moving Company, Bargain Moving Company Nashville.
Thank you so much, brother.
That's how you can find
on the show. I have going down memory lane, just remembering the Titans, man. Appreciate you, brother. All right. Appreciate you guys for checking out this episode. Big shout out to Tommy Taylor for coming out and dropping some knowledge on us about the Titans. Appreciate everybody who has been supporting me from the beginning. Don't forget to follow me at TS with Manny on Instagram and Twitter, Talking Sports with Manny. Appreciate you guys.
Please don't make me activate. Yeah, I just came to celebrate. They want me to detonate. Watch me hit accelerate.